Hello, everybody. I am the Worm, and I'm back for some more Raging Loop. Now, this probably shouldn't affect anything uh, based on the when these are being released, but for me, it's been a few days since I've played this. I wanted to record the other day, but yesterday, my I'm not sure what exactly it was. I wasn't sick, I don't think. At least it wasn't anything huge. It was just my throat was so sore all day, just the entire day. And even late at night when I was hoping it would get a bit better, it just did not. So I just decided I'm not gonna go through with recording. So finally, I'm back to do this. Like I said, this will probably just you probably won't even notice anything. But the point of me saying that is just to say it's been a few days, so I'm not. I'm gonna have to remind myself what's been going on. We're still in the introductory phase, I believe we are in any case. And last time we met more people. I have a list of I'm keeping some notes. Let me just take a look at all the new people we met. We met. So this is just a quick rundown. I'm just gonna quickly remind myself who's who and what we were doing, and then we're gonna move on. We had Kanzo Makishima, who is Haru's grandfather and elder of the village, and more quickly accepted our presence and our desire to leave. We have Tai Yamawaki, another elder of the village. She was more hesitant to accept Haruaki, had to be convinced. We saw her praying at one of the stones. Then there's Takumi Muro, around 30-year-old guy who was working out in the fields. Seems dependable. Is helping retrieve our bike and is interested in Kaori. Is it Kaori? I'm not sure. Kaori Oribe, who's our next character, by the way. She's a divorcee and the mother of Yasunaga and another new character, Yoshitsugu. Yoshitsugu is the brother of Yasunaga, and he's a delinquent, but that may just be a front. We saw a bit of, perhaps it might just be a mask he's wearing. It could be something like that. We learned about the village we're in. Yasumizu is what it's called, and it's the Saranaga River, and that river in particular is kind of taboo. Chiemi said that the villagers believe the dead can return from there, and Tai mentioned something called a Yomi Bito, which might be, at least just from the context, seemed to me that it might be her word for the undead or something that comes from the river. That's my thought. We went to the dining hall to meet all these people, and Chiemi then rushed us forward to place a call, and pardon me, and she seemed to rush us because she may not have wanted us to eat or drink whatever was at the dining hall, which is quite concerning. And in the phone call, we found out that Haruaki's insurance is not good enough to get him out of this, essentially. So we'll have to see how he's able to formulate a plan to get out. So that's where we are. I think we've just left. Is there a log here? No, it doesn't show me what was happening last time. I believe we've left the dining hall, and we are now waiting for... was it Kanzo? Sorry, what's his name again? Kanzo, yes. Kanzo and Takumi, waiting for word on our bike. I think that's where we're at now. So, let's get back into it. Again, my throat isn't sore like it was yesterday, but I still don't want to go too crazy. So, I'll be, I may not go too far, but I'll go as far as I can. Let's do this. Okay. As we waited, Chiemi, casually but uncomfortably, told me several things. First, I found out that the people here in Yasumizu, Yasumizu, were a bit on edge right now. The reason for that was the fact that, excluding me, they had 3 whole outsiders here. That was another thing. We did hear there was a, last time, I forgot to write this down actually. Let me write that down now. We did hear about one of them, supposedly a girl, I think, a young girl. And in particular, that young girl apparently didn't remember how or why she got there or something. Something like that. And that was one of the ways that Kanzo was able to convince Tai. It was the fact that Haruaki can remember, where he was and who he was and all that stuff. So, wasn't maybe not supernatural or something like that. So there's a girl who has amnesia or something, I guess. Maybe not necessarily amnesia, but something like that. But apparently there are 2 others besides the girl and Haruaki, so that's interesting. I'd assume this myself from what I was saying... Pardon me. I'd assume this myself from what I knew so far, but apparently yesterday morning a little girl was found straying around the Saranaga Rapids. They couldn't even find out her name, let alone who her parents were, so they didn't know how to handle her. One second. Okay. I'm taking a lozenge, or cough drop, just because I don't want to, I want to be able to get through this, all right? Didn't know how to handle her, yes, okay. For now, one of the inhabitants was looking after her. Like I'd been told, the more superstitious inhabitants, Tai-san mostly, saw her as a bad omen. I suggested leaving her to the police, but Chiemi didn't seem to think that it was a good idea. I wonder why. It barely made sense to me, but if I were to believe her, things around here were such that not even the cops could do anything. Why is that? That's interesting. Okay, and apparently the remaining 2 outsiders were a pair of journalists gathering info for a magazine article. Ooh. I'm guessing these 2 aren't very popular, huh? Unlike the little girl and I, they'd come here via the normal route, through Kamifujiyoshi, pardon my pronunciation, and therefore weren't considered a bad omen or whatever. Still, even normal outsiders put the people here on edge. Through this talk, I also got some details about the area itself. Can I... You know what? Let me see here. Let me try something real quick. Yeah, I can. And I just took a screenshot and pasted that into my notes, just so I can get a sense of a map here. Although I'm not sure what I'm looking at here exactly. So this is a big old mountain here. Kami Fujiyoshi is on the side of a mountain. And Yasumizu is at the base of the mountain. The mountain is called Shinai. And there's apparently a cliff here, marked by a pine, I guess. And the River Saranaga is at the base, the very base of the mountain. What's this thing? I feel like I've seen this before, but I'm not sure. Okay. Yasumizu was a settlement part of an autonomous region called Fujiyoshi Village, or simply Fujiyoshi. It had also been on the map I'd been shown at the store. Fujiyoshi was split into two areas, Yasumizu and I guess it's just Kami Fujiyoshi. So Fujiyoshi, Kami Fujiyoshi. They were separated by a mountain. Going to Kami Fujiyoshi took about an hour by foot or 20 minutes by car on a winding but paved road. Side note, the school the students went to was in Kami Fujiyoshi. These two settlements had ties so strong, they shared customs and culture. Shami said the local seasonal events were quite unconventional. I asked her to elaborate, but all she would say was that Yasumizu had a special meaning to Fujiyoshi. She was making me more suspicious than I wanted to be. This conversation wasn't nearly exciting as the one we had last night. Well, at least I found out she didn't have a boyfriend right now. Very intriguing. It was nearly noon when Takumi-san came back, ending my waiting game. Side note, the door was fully open the entire time we waited. It was probably Chemi's way of saying that nothing bad was happening here. Yeah, we don't want another misunderstanding. I really didn't expect them to just carry it here. Like, sure, there's two of them, but just how much mass do you have to haul a 200-kilogram piece of metal so easily? The unpaved road and the river made my sweet ride all really damn muddy. I did not say that correctly.
滑車があんだよ。たまに下から物を引き上げなきゃなんねえから。おい、匠。と、余計なこと言ってる場合じゃねえ。これ大丈夫なのか？だいぶ水に浸かっちまったみてえだけど。
Seems Kanzo doesn't want that to be known. Which means I should probably write it down, huh? Pulley system. Okay.
どうかな。見てみます。じゃああとは任すぜ。おやっさん、結構かかっちまったから研ぎ直しは明日まで待ってもらえっか。うん。
I saw them off with a loud thank you. Now then.
手伝おっか？
とりあえず一人でなんとかなるかやってみるよ。
The worst part of the repairs was right at the beginning. I wanted to start by washing it, but that old lady, Tai Yamawaki was her full name, got really mad at me. She didn't want any Saranaga mud on the ground here because it was corrupt or something. But this plaza was the only place with easy access to a water supply tap, so I did my best to convince her to let me wash it, as close to the edge as possible. Once it was clean, I could start checking what was wrong with it. It actually looked pretty good. Bent in places, sure, but the wash got rid of the bad sound the wheels made. The only problem was both tires were flat, and it was a pretty big one.
道具とか持ってきてないの?
Now, he was just kind of... He was driving for the sake of driving. He had no destination in mind. He was just going, I guess.
普通バイク旅行とかって持ってくるもんじゃないの?
いざとなればロードサービス呼べばいいかな的なノリだったんで。
Maybe not the best attitude there.
不準備。
Yeah.
いや、返す言葉もない。正直やけくそで出発したから冷静でもなかったのかも。
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
お？事情を聞いてほしそう。
彼女に振られたんだよ。
Aha. I did wonder about this. I did wonder... I don't know if it was last time or the time before. It did sound like he was having girl trouble, so to speak. But I wasn't sure if that was specifically the reason why he went on this trip, but looks like we have some confirmation here. Yeah.
なんか嘘っぽいな。
It wasn't.
それはともかく、パンク修理道具か。野里屋敷ならあるかもしれないな。
Mansion, you say?
野里屋敷？
うん、安水で一番大きなお家。野里屋敷にないものは安水にはないよ。
なるほど。じゃあそこの人にお願いしに行こう。
Are we gonna be allowed in there?
実はあんまり会うのはおすすめできないんだけど、背に腹は変えられないか。
また偉い人が登場？
うん。その上ちょっと人格的にね。
What kind of messed up are we talking about here? Stonework here. And so we walked up the hill and arrived at the so-called Nosato Mansion. From what I could tell, it was located at the highest point in the settlement. And, like Shemi said, it was definitely a hell of a building. It had an elegant Western design, which would probably look better if the place were better maintained. The yard was overgrown, and the building itself was pretty much buried in ivy and small trees. If someone told me it were cursed, I'd instantly believe them. Did people actually live here?
インターホン生きてるかな?
She pressed a button next to the aged iron gate. Yasumizu was a quiet place, so I could easily hear the bell ring inside.
もう一度押そうか？
やめとこ。何度も鳴らすと心象悪いから。
そんなに気難しい人なの？
そうね。気難しい。うん。いい表現だ。
I wasn't sure what she'd meant, but I opted to just wait rather than ask her more questions. Soon enough, the person in question walked out of the mansion.
なんだ? 誰だ?
Hello, sir. He wasn't young, but he didn't look middle-aged either. He certainly looked high-strung, that much was sure.
どうも、野里さん。芹沢です。
知っている。芹沢千恵美。そっちの青年は存じ上げないがね。
春明さん、こちら野里清之助さん。清之助さん、事故車の久石春明さんです。
These names, man. Okay. Kiyonosuke Nosato-san. Okay, nice to meet you. That introduction was the briefest one yet.
は? なんだって?
I explained the situation again. He furrowed his brow when I mentioned the Saranaga. In addition to the reason we were here.
というわけで、早々にここから出ていくためにも、修理道具をお持ちだったら貸していただけないかと。
タイヤはチューブですかね。
Huh?
一応パッチもあるがね、チューブタイヤだったら素人には難しいんじゃないのか。できるならいいがね。なあ、チューブがバーストしてたら交換するしかないが、替えはさすがに持っておらんよ。譲る義理もないがね。
すみません。ちょっとそのあたりあんまり詳しくないまま乗っちゃったんで。
ちょっと話にならんね。おとなしく何十万だかの勉強料を払って拾ってもらうのをおすすめしよう。
I had no retort to that.
野里さん、多分ですけど今の時期これ以上よその車がここに入るとか良くないんじゃないです？
はあ？君は間違いりだろう。未だにそんなもの信じてるのかね。
What nonsense.
私はともかくじいさまばあさま方がちょっとここ数日やたら外来者多いですし。
安水の連中の事情は知らんよ。私にどうしろと？え？油まみれになってパンク修理しろと？
I don't know if it's too early to begin speculating, but I have a feeling because he's this, so he's skeptical of whatever beliefs that seem to be prevalent in Yasumizu. Do you think he'd be the first to die? I'm assuming there's going to be, because this is a horror thing, based off of a horror game. So presumably there's going to be deaths. I can see him being a first to die, but I could also see a direction where he's confronted with the something he doesn't believe in or something.
いや、そこまでなくても藤吉の長者として困ってるマロードを助けるのにお力添えをいただけないかと。
Fujiyoshi Village Head, you say? This man here. Interesting.
困った時だけ長者を頼るのではなく、安水流のもてなしでもしたらどうかね。崖から突き落とすんだったか。
Here's something. Traditional Yasumizu welcome. Throwing off cliff, huh? Sounds like there's a story there. Let's before I do that, let's Village Head. That's interesting. Interesting. Whoa! What the hell?
いや、そんな言っちゃダメですよ。
Jimmy Tones was slightly off. I could feel a bit of irritation behind her words.
本当お恥ずかしい限りなんですが、なんとかしてみるんで道具だけ貸してもらえませんか？
なんだと？
Yeah, just, be neighborly. Just help out, man. What would be the trouble?
道具やらキットやら仮に入るだけで作業は別のところでしますから、もちろんお代は払います。
まあ構わんがね。下手に物を破損させたりしたら弁償してもらうぞ。学生だか知らんがきっちりしてもらう。
Uh-huh. Then he pointed me to the garage and walked back to the mansion.
いやー、なんとかならない気がしてきた。チューブがバーストってなんだろ
う。Well, I'm pretty sure you would have better chance of knowing Haruaki than me. Unfortunately, I am not mechanically inclined, so I would not know either.
春明さんかっこ悪。
え、バイク乗りならスパナ1本で何でも修理してみせろと？
まあわかりませんけど、なんかそういうメカに強い感じ出したらグッとくる女は多いのでは。
Yeah. That's one aspect, certainly.
じゃあ野里氏にはグッときたと？
She?
いやー、どうせ知ったかぶりだから。あの人多分自分じゃ整備もできないよ。筋金入りの占り病炭だし。
So you think he has the knowledge, but not necessarily the practical experience.
え、じゃあなぜバイクの整備用品なんて？
野里屋敷は上富士吉にある野里家のもっと大きいお屋敷からいらないものを運んで置いとくような場所らしくてね。
Huh. Okay.
56年前に清之助さんが単車買ってもらったけど、ろくに乗りこなせなくてお蔵入りにしたとか聞いたことある。
Huh. Damn. That was the countryside for you. Couldn't hide your shame if your life depended on it. Anyway, I now knew that the man was condescending I now knew that the man was the condescending, pretentious type. He still helped me out, though. And it was true I didn't know how much... Sorry. He still helped me out, though. And it was true. I didn't know much about bike repairs, so I couldn't really get mad.
さ、そうと決まれば使えそうなものは全部持ち出してやろうぜ。
さながら山賊のごとく乗った。
Alright. We're taking everything.
私邪魔じゃないかな。
いや、適当に話してないと気がめいるんで、相槌打ってくれるだけでも助かる。
Yeah, I mean... As long as you don't have anywhere else to be, Chiemi, I think we'd appreciate it. Considering it still feels like we're in foreign territory here, you know what I'm saying? Let me see. Okay. 1 second. Okay. Back. The instructions that came with the repair kit told me that my bike's tires were a rather difficult type to repair. Apparently, I had to remove the tires, but where did I even start with that? Well, as long as I didn't break it, nothing I did could be worse than having to call road service down here, so I just tried taking it apart. But as I removed whatever nuts I could, I made the situation even worse than it was. Yeah, this really wasn't a job for an amateur.
お兄さん大変そうね。ちえみちゃんもよかったら食べてね。
ありがとうございます。
なんか大事になってんな。機械っつうのはやっぱダメだな。
まあ壊れさえしなきゃ文明の利器は便利だけどね。
Well, she's eating the food, so that's interesting.
日暮れまでに治りそうかい？
厳しいかも。最悪なんとかするから安心して、ばあちゃん。
I really appreciated how she handled the visitors in my stead.
なあ、知恵ね。バイクって免許簡単に取れんの？
Ooh, not just a delinquent, a bike delinquent, huh? Yeah.
どうだろう。原付なら簡単よ。私も持ってるし。
中型大型の二輪は結構めんどいよ。普通免許取るのと同じ学科講習もあるし。バイク好きなのかい？
ああ、関係ねえだろ。ちなみにそれいくらすんだよ。
これは新車で80万くらいかな。
My goodness.
たっけはたっけバカどうやって貯めんだよ。
まあバイトとか頑張ったから。
Hey, you worked for it.
そんな新車が事故ってなんて。春脇さん、気の毒。
千恵美先生、さっきから気にはなってたんだけど、差し入れ僕の分は？
先生思わず全部食べちゃった。 春明さん気の毒。
You ate it all, did you? Interesting, interesting. On purpose, mayhaps. I didn't want sympathy from the one responsible. As I told her off for not leaving me any food, I somehow removed the tires. I could only hope I'd be able to fix this up. I've had this thing for less than a month, but the trouble it was putting me through made it feel somewhat dear to me. I wanted to fire it up again and make it go as fast as it could. Suddenly, I heard an engine. It felt like it was mocking me. Hold on. An engine? Here. I stopped working and turned around to see an unfamiliar van drive into the plaza. Is it a white van? Barring the classic-looking piece of junk in Nasato's garage, this was the first time I'd seen a car here. As far as I knew, no one living here actually owned a running car, so...
さっき言った記者さんたちだね。
I knew it. Once the van stopped, a lady stepped out of it.
こんにちは。
Hello. Oh, she's pretty.
どうも。
今日もご迷惑をおかけします。これまで見ないお方ね。
どうも。自己春明です。
そこまで自虐的になんなくても。
Crap. That was no time for an inside joke. I quickly introduced myself properly.
ちょっとその辺で事故りましてね。ここに寄せてもらってます。
Are we gonna have the journalist be the first to go?
なるほど、学生さんね。事故は災難だったわね。ちなみに私はこういうものです。
The woman gave me her business card. Hisako Mamiya. Hisako Mamiya. Freelance writer. Her pen name was Kyuko Hosai.
ちなみに読んだことない宝生9個の記事。
She said like Hoso Kyuko?
すみません。
だよね。まだまだマイナーだし、そもそも記事載った雑誌、主婦向けとシニア向けだし。
What year is it, I wonder?
それは難易度高いな。ちなみに何を書いておられるんです？
フードレビュー、変わった食品専門のね。
Ooh. Food is coming up fairly frequently here, huh?
あれですか？世界で一番臭い缶詰とかそういう。
そうそう。まあシュールなんて今更ネタになんないから国内に絞ってマイナーな珍味を探し歩いてるわけ。そんなわけで調理に変わった料理があるとか情報があったらぜひちょうだい。日本全国どこでも行くから。
ラボの後輩がキャンパス内で取ったキノコで豚汁作ったら集団幻覚が起きまして。
思いつきと毒物は却下ね。
As we chatted, I became curious.
そういえば取材の方はお二人とか。
ええ、もう一人いるわ。ちょっと降りてくるのに時間が。あ、来た来た。
I looked at the van and became completely awestruck. It felt like the van had shed its skin or something. That made no sense, but seriously, how did this fit in there? Oh, hello, sir. He was gargantuan. Takumi-san was something, but this man was on the level of a foreign heavyweight wrestler. Though, unlike Takumi-san, this man was primarily fat rather than muscle. As he walked out of the driver's seat, the van shook wildly.
写真家の橋本雄大さんよ。こちらは私よりもっとずっと有名。
Yudai Hashimoto-san.
オールラウンドでご活躍中で、写真はきっと気づかないうちに何枚か目にしてるはずよ。
Doesn't seem to be very verbose. I didn't know much about photography, but I was definitely convinced. There was a certain kind of authority or gravity, one might say, around him. He wasn't saying a word, and I couldn't tell what he was thinking.
どうもはじめまして。久石春明です。
Was he even alive?
どうも。
After a strange pause, he slowly bowed, like the moving mountain he was, and he greeted me with a voice like a titan. He seemed somewhat difficult to interact with.
今日で最終日でしたっけ？
ええ、オリベさんが秘蔵の獅子慣れを開けてくださるってことなので。
よその人に耐えられるかな。
まあ胃薬も持ってきてるから大丈夫でしょ。
And so, Mamiya-shi and Hashimoto-shi walked off to the dining hall. I'm unfamiliar with shi. Haruaki used it earlier with Nasato. Don't know what that means. Who would have thought that a beauty was a delicacy hunter? I had to admit, that gap was kinda charming. As intrigued as I was, I couldn't waste any more time. I had to fix my bike already. Whoa, hello. A lot of things had surprised me here in Yasumizu, but nothing as much as this.
もしもし
No reaction. At first glance, he looked like a poor man too senile to think and perceive properly.
何かご用ですか
I made sure to speak as clearly as possible. He didn't look like he understood. I figured it was best to just ignore him and resume the repairs, but... I looked at him again. He was still standing there, like his soul and brain had left his body. A vacant stare, yellowed eyes, half-open mouth covered in saliva. Spoke again.
何が来るんです
The what? What? His voice was too hoarse to make out.
何ですって
I placed my hand against my ear. He finally understood what I wanted and prepared to whisper something. I brought my ear closer and...
狼が来るぞ
The sudden shout caught me completely off guard and made me fall to the ground. He walked up to me laughing. Oh, excuse me. That's not right. He looked down at me laughing. He clapped and opened his half-toothless mouth in a wide smile.
狼が来るぞ狼が来るぞ
He bent his body in a weird way, laughed like he was convulsing, turned around, and just left.
春明さん。あー、遅かったか。
Hey, Chimmy, do you know a crazy old guy? Chimmy had joined the journalist and only just came back.
何が遅かったと
おじいちゃん。知らない人にはああやっていたずらするんだよ。
Messing around, huh?
え、あれ、ちえみちゃんの
いやいや、本名は知らないんだ。昔から休みずにいるおじいちゃんだけど、昔からあんな感じ。
Okay. You don't even know his name.
ボケてるというか、ちょっとおかしいのか、あの人。
Something like that, yeah.
うん。みんな狼じじいって呼んでるけどね。
Named after the boy who cried wolf, I assume. Doesn't work as well, though.
狼ね
As far as I knew, there were no wild wolves in Japan. There used to be, but after the last sightings in either the Meiji or Showa era, they've been considered extinct here. Modern Japan's image of wolves comes from Western fairy tales and the like. It wasn't linked to anything in our culture or life. Even the boy who cried wolf is Western tale. Did his brand of insanity make him repeat the tale or something? A bit weirded out by the circumstances, I went back to repairing my bike. After a bit more time, I somehow took off the rubber from the tires and removed the tubes. Both tires were pierced by something like really rusty nails. Fuck. This kind of stuff only happened in the worst of times. Then I applied the patches and filled them with air using a manual pump. I went to the tubes. There were no bubbles, meaning no air was leaving them. Things were looking good. Okay, my throat's starting to go again. So I think I'm going to call it here. We met Misato-san. We found out about the mansion. Got a map. Met some journalists. Sorry about this. Stopping a bit early. I hope I can start going a bit longer again. It's just my dang throat has been hurting so much. Okay. I'll recap a bit next time. Definitely some weird stuff, but nothing extremely crazy has happened yet. Just some odd things. So maybe next time we'll start getting more of that. Hope you're all doing well. I've been The Warm. This has been Raging Loop, and I hope to see you next time. See ya.